Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Tina from It's a Wonderful Plan. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to set up a travel journal. I have 6 new PET tapes from RONGRONG. She just released these. They are part of her city series and they include New Orleans, Nashville, LA, San Francisco, Vegas, and Miami. I think that these tapes are great to have if you live in that city, if you plan to visit that city, if maybe you already have and you want to create some kind of a memory journal. I do have a detailed flip through. If you want to see all of those PET tapes, for today's video, I'm going to be using Miami. Now, I am an affiliate of RONGRONG's, and if you decide to pick anything up, greatly appreciate if you use my affiliate link. You will find that down below in the description along with a discount code. Now, I am using an A5 Archer and Olive notebook today, and actually I just became an Archer and Olive affiliate. So if you do decide to purchase anything from them, I greatly appreciate if you use my affiliate link, and there's also a discount code down below for you. I'm going to go through a step-by-step process with you on how I like to set up my travel journals whenever I go anywhere. But first, let's take a look at the PET tape. It's so pretty. I love the colors in here, just some really fun, summery, vibrant, beachy colors in here. I'm also going to be bringing in some assorted washi tape. This is just from my washi stash. I tried to grab colors that went well. I have a swatch out of all of the PET tape here, so it's nice and easy for me to see what I've got going on here. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. Now let's talk about how I like to set up my pages. Now what I did was I put down all of the pages that I like to create onto some sticky notes. First, I want to go over with you how I set these up, and then we're going to decorate a few pages. This is going to turn into a 2-part series, maybe a 3-part series, maybe kind of crossing over into Instagram. Not quite sure how it's going to work out yet. So to start off with, I like to have a cover page, and generally I like to start with it on the left side, because then that way when I open up my book, I have these 2 pages right away going into that particular trip. Of course, I could start it here and then have this be a blank page. However you kind of want to format it. So that's why I put them on sticky notes, because I always encourage you to plan things like this out. It just kind of makes it a little bit easier. I'm very much a planner person. I'm really always planning everything. So I just like to make sure that if I'm setting something like this up, I want to set it up where I'm going to feel comfortable using it. That's going to be the cover page, and I do have some items that I put onto the cover page, which we'll talk about those in a little bit more detail in just a bit. This next page is going to be a travel information. I've got 3 more different things I want to set up for this. First off, I want to know about things to see. So that's going to kind of go on there, and places to eat. And that could take up 2 pages. It really depends on where you're going, how long the trip is going to be, how much stuff you want to see. And it's really just kind of a brain dump listing of things you want to see and places you want to eat. So really depends on how many pages you need for that. The next thing is going to be a packing list. And then after that, we would go into the actual days of the trip itself. All right, so those are the categories of these different pages. You can use any size journal that you like. I personally like a smaller size, like an A5, very compact, easy to carry around. And I also like to have it be either a book bound, something that's bound, maybe even flexible. It really depends on your preferences, but this is what I like. For the cover page, I'm going to want to put the destination. So for this video, we are going to Miami. I've never been to Miami. You have to tell me if you live in Miami, or if maybe you have been there, or you're planning a visit. This is going to be perfect because look I have this Miami sticker here. I'm going to move this. I think I'm just going to kind of put it right in the middle. I think that that's pretty. I can always add some other elements in there. And then, like I said, I brought in this washi. So let's do a little bit of a trim at the top here. And I like to use just basic things when I set up my travel journals. I just like to have like washi or even colorful like highlighters, something like that. I found that I want to have color on my pages, but I don't want it to be super, super busy because I really want it to be very functional for me. And whenever I go anywhere, I only take that journal with me. I don't bring my planner or anything bulky. So that's why I like, an A5 size. It works out like perfectly for me. On this page, I want to include the destination, the dates that I'm going, the accommodations, and then like any confirmation numbers. Now, this one is going to be the travel information. So if you're flying or wherever you're going, maybe you're driving, to and from your airport transportation. So it really depends on how much room you need, because these two things could actually end up like kind of going together on one page. Let's move this to the side. So that way we can kind of like put all of that on one page. And then that way you can kind of get an idea. It really depends on where you're going, because your travel information might be very minimal, like especially if maybe you are driving somewhere. It might just be like a day trip that you need to drive. Let's just say we're going the 1st through the 4th. I don't really know what those dates are because this is just kind of like a mock-up of an idea for you. I'm not actually going to Miami, although that sounds really nice. So I'm going to grab my rainbow collection. So wherever I was staying, I would put like my information in there. And then I would want to also write down like a confirmation number. So I'd put my hotel information and then confirmation number in here. We have the destination, we have the dates, the accommodations, and the confirmation. And now I'm going to use this washi to kind of like separate the next section. If I could find it here. Here we go. Okay. Here, so we're going to need the flight information. I'm definitely somebody that likes to like do nonstop. I would never do like a connecting flight. I mean, unless I absolutely had no choice, but I'm fortunate because I live in Chicago. I live right near O'Hare Airport. So I would have a straight nonstop flight. So I'm going to kind of just create some lines here. And what I'm doing is I'm just doing kind of like a base. And then I'll fill in all of my functional things. And then I can add additional stickers. So you could do this like what I'm doing right now with the washi, or you could just do it with markers. That would be fun too. So let's see. Okay. All right, so I know that I'm going to need to have all of my flight information here. So I just filled in that I would have my flight to, like the flight number, the airline, the departure time, and then I'd have my return flight, the same thing, the airline and departure time. And then this is going to be how I'm going to get to the airport. So this will be like transportation to the airport when I would be leaving. And then this would be transportation again back to, to the airport, but this would be when I was coming back home. Write down like what service and the time. I have like a nice like functional page there, but now I have some extra space that I could go ahead and decorate. All right, so let's see if I could fit a girl in here. The thing with the PET tapes, because they're clear, they're like on this roll, you can kind of like lay them on top and see how things will fit. And these girls are clearly too big to fit in that section. So let me pick something else. How about the planner, right? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm planning this out. So I could bring that in here. Cute little bracelet here. Right there. Okay. So now at the bottom, I could add in some more washi if I wanted to, but I think I'm going to bring in that orange again because I've got a lot of that mustard in there. So I like to balance it out, of course, with the color. So that's the first page right there. That's the cover page. And actually it turned out to be my travel information as well because I was able to fit all of that in there. So that worked out. So now I have this page where I could grab my things to see. I'm going to lay down some washi. Now, am I going to like that this doesn't go all the way across? I think I will. I think it's kind of cute because the colors match nicely. So let's go this way. I kind of like creating borders. It's just really like nice and simple way to decorate pages like this. I'm going to turn this around. I always like to turn my book around so it's at like the best angle for myself. Otherwise, it's just really awkward. So I know that we're like in the middle of summer. I consider it the middle of summer. A lot of people feel like it's the last part of summer. You know, depending if you've got like kids going back to school, that really dictates like when summer's over. I take care of my nephew, so of course he's in school, so that kind of is my gauge. But as far as like my husband and I, we don't go on vacations during the summertime. We tend to go in spring or in fall because we like to go during non-peak times because it gets so busy with families and so it just is like that's when we go on vacation. We do like this things around the city and around home during the summertime. Okay, so this is going to be things to see. I am not a letterer, so that's probably crooked, plus the angle that I was writing it. So I apologize for my horrible writing, but I know that I'm not the only one, right? I know that like we all want to, I feel like, be better with like lettering. All right, so I have the things to see up there, and I want to bring in a girl because look at how cute she is. All right, let's bring her in over here. And you can really do different things with this page. You could like put little boxes in here. You could just add lines. You could just kind of like write freely. However you want to like have this things to see page, but it's really important to write all of this stuff out so that way you're just not like kind of like flying by the seat of your pants with things, because that's when you end up missing stuff. So I always try to make a nice list of the things that I want to see and do, places I want to eat. So this PT tape actually has some like areas of the city in here, so I can use that there. And let's put that one there. Now I'm going to grab some of this, kind of create a separation here, but I'm laughing because I really see how crooked I actually wrote that. See, what happens is when I'm filming, I'm at a different angle. So it really shows now that I laid this washi down, how crooked I wrote that. Oh my goodness. That is awful. I like lines, as you could see, because otherwise I just write really crooked. So drawing some lines in here would be a great idea if you're like me. Sometimes I'll just like write things like this down on a piece of paper and brainstorm separately. And then for the journal, I'll just like narrow it down to places where I know I absolutely want to go to. I think I'm going to put like a box in the middle there. Let's grab this one here. I'm going to actually grab this PET tape. The nice thing about the PET tapes is that they usually come off pretty nicely if you want to like reposition things. You can also add a section in for like places to eat. So depending on how many things you want to see and depending on how many places you want to eat, like if you're a big foodie, so you want to check out a lot of different restaurants, then you might need like a whole page just for like places to eat. We have our things to see and places to eat we talked about. Now we're going to talk about creating a packing list. All right, so for this, I say make it a double, because then that way you'd be able to start off with like your days and plan that out. For a packing list, I want to keep it very functional, but I also want it to be cute. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with some washi first. I'm going to add in a top and a bottom border, and you see how skinny this is? This is a very skinny washi, so it is not going to take up a lot of room. So we'll be able to keep this very functional and write out all the things we need. Of course, we're going to decorate it with some fun little stickers. All right, so there's my top and my bottom border, and it's cute, it's fun. And I am going to write on here packing list. Okay, so I did much better this time around because I took my time and I did it like off camera. Otherwise, like lettering takes a little bit. You know, I like to use the dot grid and I will like figure out my spacing. For this one right here, I just like wrote it out thinking that I could do that. And I would have to fix that because that is just does not look really nice. All right, so we're gonna grab this suitcase, perfect for our packing list. Look at that. How cute is that? I'm gonna turn it like this, but then I'm gonna cut off the overhang. And I'm actually gonna cut this as well. I want to keep that washi border up here. I'm going to turn this around because it's closer to me at this point. And I'm going to bring it in like right here. I wanted this to be trimmed out. But this has got like this little here, this little like foot. So let's see if I can try to cut it like this. So I want to make sure that there. Now for this, you want to create categories. Create a heading area. Let's see, how do I want to do that? I think I just want to draw it in. I think it would just be easier to draw it in with pen. I made some sections across the top here. So within those sections, you're going to want to have clothing, toiletries, footwear, technology, and then you're going to have like a section for miscellaneous items. Now, clothing is going to be like the longest section, so I would probably have that run down pretty far, depending on how many pairs of shoes you're going to bring, because if it's a road trip, of course you could bring like more shoes, but if you're flying, probably not going to pack a lot of shoes, but you could, depends. So I'm actually going to create another section here, and I'm going to have here accessories. And then this last little section could be a to buy, things you need to buy for this trip. All right, so there's your packing list, and you can draw lines in there if you choose to. For now, I'm just going to leave it blank. And I left this section open because I thought it'd be really fun to add in all of these cute little like outfit things here. So like a lot of cute outfits. Let's see. Let's start off. So this is actually like a full outfit here. But I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to cut it in half. So that way I could just make it like a lot of cute little pieces kind of going across the bottom. This is such a cute bag. I don't want to cut a lot of it off, but I just kind of want to keep it within that frame. Okay, now I want to trim these things because otherwise they're like kind of hanging over. I kind of like that that's like cut. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reposition and do the same thing because it kind of like makes it look like they're just like partially off of the page here. And I kind of like the way that that looks. All right, so I like the way that this turned out. However, this right here is really bothering me. So I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it by using this is a white sticker. So let's pull up the washi. Setting that to the side, and I am going to put this like white sticker here, and I'm going to get rid of that because that is just awful lettering, like awful, like I can't. All right. Okay, so see, I'm fixing my oops. White sticker paper is the best thing to have. around because you can just fix so many things with that. And I'm going to bring this in and it's going to be like seamless here. All right, I went ahead and I fixed my heading there. It looks a lot nicer. At least it's straight. Generally, whenever I do any lettering, I always like to lay down with pencil first, and then I will go over it with a marker or, however I'm going to be coloring it in. So I went ahead and covered up my mistake with that like white sticker paper, and then I was just able to go ahead and write onto the paper and correct that. So I'm happy that that looks so much better. So let's just review what we have here so far for our travel journal. We have our cover page, which includes our location, the dates that we're going. This will be an area for your hotel information, where you're staying, confirmation number, and then your flights to and returning, your transportation to the airport. We've got our page over here with our things to see. So we did have a couple of stickers here, so I was able to use those. And then of course, you can fill in the rest of the items there. I added here places to eat because there's always going to be places that you're going to want to check out for restaurants, whether you are a foodie or not, right? And then we have over here our packing list with categories of clothing, toiletries, footwear, accessories, technology, miscellaneous items, and then what you need to buy still. And I just decorated down here. So I think that that looks really cute. It's super functional, but it is really cute. And it makes for just like some really nice memory pages. So now for the second part of this travel journal setup, I will be showing you how I set up the days, like so the time that you're actually at your vacation destination. I'm going to show you what I like to do with those days. So if you want to make sure that you see the second part, if you are not subscribed to me, make sure you subscribe, you hit the notification bell, and then that way you'll be notified when my content gets posted. I hope that you like this video. If you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up on here. And if you do purchase anything from RONGRONG or from Archer and Olive, I am an affiliate. I do have my affiliate links down below in the description. And then there are discount codes there for additional 10% savings on either one of those. So RONGRONG just released her 6 PETs for her city series. So just to review again, the cities that we have New Orleans, we have Nashville, we have LA, San Francisco, and we have Vegas. And then of course we did work on Miami today. So if you want to see some things that I set up using the other PET tapes, be sure to check out the video that I'm going to attach here for you at the end. You could go watch that next, and you could see the full like flip through of all of the PET tapes and then how I use those to create a fun like cities to visit bucket list. And also if you're following me on Instagram, then you'll also see how I used another city. So kind of like showing you in both places here on YouTube and on Instagram. So be sure that you are following me there as well, because you will see things there on Instagram that you don't see here on YouTube. Please drop me a comment down below and let me know if you're going to be going on vacation, like when you like to vacation, if you have any fun vacation plans coming up, and let me know if this is something that you're interested in seeing more of, because I just love being able to show you like my little journals and things like that that I like to set up for myself. I've learned to just kind of like to use a blank slate to set things up, because I like things a particular way, or there might be certain categories that I want to have on my pages, my travel journal, and they may not be like in pre-printed travel journals. So it's just kind of like a really, really fun way to set up like journaling for like your own particular needs. So I hope that this helps you out, and make sure that if you watch this video all the way through to the end, drop me a suitcase. Yes, a suitcase emoji. All right, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you in part 2. All right, thanks. Bye.